Welcome to Start Here, a podcast sharing the stories of active, aspiring, and accidental entrepreneurs. I'm Nicole Eaton.
And I'm Dave Bradbury. So let's get to the show.
Today we sit down with Chelsea Bardot Lewis, a social impact executive who now leads the Vermont Businesses for Social Responsibility, whose mission is to leverage the power of business for positive social and environmental impact. Welcome to Start Here, Chelsea.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
By.
Did you say social impact? I have to write that down for my LinkedIn.
Yes.
I'm a social impact executive.
I literally think we took it from the website. So you
Okay, so our communications person said that. Great.
Kudos. Score for communications. There we go.
For real. It is important.
Okay, we're going to set the stage for today's discussion. So what exactly is an impact entrepreneur executive? And how do I know if I'm one or not?
You definitely are one.
I'm not so sure. So what is it? What's it look like?
I mean, we're in the business of bringing entrepreneurs together, right? That's why you've had a dream job forever, and now I'm just stepping into this role. And particularly right now, it's not like there's some policy wonk or economist that's going to tell businesses what's coming at them from federal policy. It's being together, getting entrepreneurs together, having them share lessons learned and things not to do and things they wish they had known earlier. And that's what we get to do. We get to curate those experiences for people to get together, build skills. And at VBSR, what I'm really excited about, particularly right now, is our collective action and advocacy platform.
Right. So in terms of impact, like what does that mean? Is it multiple levels? Is it environment? Is how you treat workers, or what your capital sources come from, or all the above?
Yes. That's the triple bottom line. So our members are companies that have all three of those pillars of the triple bottom line as part of their business. So the people, the planet, and of course financial prosperity, because we can't have impact if we're not successful businesses.
Wow.
No margin, no mission, Nicole.
Yeah.
That's right.
I was going to say, we're people, platform, capital, people, planet, financial prosperity.
There you go.
Thank God for alliteration. It's the only way I remember these
great.
terms. Right? Yeah. I usually say people, platform, protein sources. Right?
Yeah.
You
just got to do it.
Just got to have fun, right?
You got to have fun.
Yeah, we got to have fun.
So you've worked in state economic development. We're an investor with the Vermont Community Foundation and for a venture equity-backed company, which are all fascinating perspectives. What should an impact investor, I feel like we're saying this term so much already, but what should they look for that perhaps a general investor might not?
And I think that this really is changing generally in the investment environment, is that you're not just looking at financial projections. You're looking at the team, right? That's what everyone says first, like what's the strength of the team? And that a team today is looking at how they treat their people, how they treat resources, and how they treat the broader community. So I think it is just kind of what impact investing really is becoming more, I hope, mainstream investing, and that you're looking beyond just beyond the numbers, and beyond even that level of the management team to kind of what's happening in the rest of the company, beyond product and into kind of the platform and how they're making their money, how they're showing up in their communities.
Yeah, I feel like Vermont and maybe even New England has done a really good job at impact investing, or even just having businesses that are focused on social responsibility. Do you see that across the country now there's more like impact investors, and how have you worked with them? Have you worked with them or seen an increase in interest, or even looking to VBSR or Vermont in general as like a leader in, impact or...
Yeah. So I first got to work closely with VCET and with David when I was at the Vermont Community Foundation, and got to be part of the Vermont Mission Investing Pool. And Vermont Community Foundation was actually the first community foundation in the country to put aside a percentage of its pooled assets from every donor-advised fund. Money goes into a place-based impact investing pool. And I think that's an example of something Vermont does so well, kind of blurring the lines. So it's not venture here, grants over here. It's like actually, let's look at the problem we're trying to solve. Let's look at the company we're trying to capitalize. Let's look at the downtown that we're trying to invest in, and then come up with a financial tool that makes the most sense.
Thank you. Can you talk about what it's like being a capital seeker versus an investor?
Yes, I think when I was in I was in the investor seat, I don't know if this is going to resonate with you. You were obviously much more experienced than I was when I was doing this, but I felt like I was in a role where I had to be pessimistic all the time and kind of look for like, how is this venture not going to work? What is this founder not seeing? And of course, we were do good investors. So it's like, okay, how could this fail? But then like, what resource do I want to get them? And like, who should they meet? So always, as you do, trying to leave something of value behind. But it was definitely like a risk management lens, kind of how does this end in failure? Whereas being on the operator side and fundraising, it's like, you're an optimist.
Yeah.
You're like, this has to work because the world needs it. And, let's find a way to get to a yes. And okay, this problem comes up and we can solve that. And, here's the resource to get. So it's fun being on the other side of the table and being in the optimist chair. Definitely like looking back, I felt all of the kind of like bad investor behavior that I participated in on the other side of the table, and things that I would do differently if I were ever in that position again. But yeah, certainly have empathy for both sides.
I think that's so important, right? Just sort of having walked in capital seeker shoes or someone who's starting up, and it's different. It's scary. It's risky, right? You got to put yourself out there, but then, when you throw the investor hat on, you're kind of like, okay, what can go right? What can go wrong? You sort of both optimistic and you want to believe, and particularly in a small place like our community, where you probably know the folks or neighbors or once removed, right? It's like, okay, how do we get this to the next level? Maybe it's not capital, maybe it's a team addition or a program to go through that helps get the business maybe a bit more ready for financing, right?
Yes. Or like, what's the right type of capital? I think that was something that, Karen Cross was a person who really helped us at Working Fields think about, like, don't just ask everyone because, especially the first money you take is going to set the tone. So, even when it's a no, saying like, we're not the right capital and here's why, and here's the right profile of the capital you're looking for.
Where do you think impact investment funds like get a bad rap?
I don't know. I mean, I think this goes back to like who we've kind of delegated the term of like financial expert to. So like my soapbox in organizations is always like everyone on the team needs to, at the very least, be able to read all of our financial statements and like understand like our baseline financial position, because when we cede that title of like financial expert or like he's the money person, it's because it's always he. I see this on my board, like, the finance committee is all men. And, these like brilliant powerhouse program people on my team are like, oh, well, they're the money people. So I don't know. I think it goes back. Oh my gosh. I think it goes back to that idea that, the kind of like the people who have a different way of looking at investing and the triple bottom line return, are like, I'm still trying to say like, empower ourselves, but also, maybe they don't need to be like, get the blessing from the old guard, from the other way of investing. It's just something different. Different metrics.
Well, in some regard, when you're starting a company, you're kind of breaking things a little bit, right?
Sure.
Either like just how things go, or a new idea, a new product, a new trend. So, I've always wondered, it occurred to me like maybe 10 years into VCET's investing history, we have two venture funds. We're actually impact investors.
Yes.
Although we've never used that term, because we've had 4 investment objectives, right? Earn enough return, IRR, to revolve the fund. So pay for losses, pay for expenses, bring capital leverage to a place that really didn't have it.
Yep.
Right, and for every dollar we've invested over the years, almost $7 million right now. Right now, they've raised $700 million, so almost 100 to 1 leverage over time that these companies and teams have done. It's so incredible. And then it was wealth and income opportunities through the companies, right?
Yes.
Through ownership or salaries or benefits. And then we have this other. Number 4 was other. like we don't know.
Sauce.
Maybe there's a college program or a community that went through some sort of structural event, a flood or a closure that, it might be worth sacrificing maybe our financial return profile in order to put 17 people to work in downtown somewhere in a second story building. So it's kind of neat to see that. I don't know. The titles kind of bother me. I don't like titles.
Yeah,
Do you like labels? I don't like labels.
And I do think, as you're speaking, you have developed a process that has a certain amount of rigor, and it's clear and it's understood, and you have an investment thesis that's clear and understood. And I do think that, particularly people who are new to investing and calling themselves impact investors and maybe haven't done that foundational work of just being an investor is what is confusing, certainly confusing to operators who are raising capital, and probably confusing to the ecosystem that, I don't really understand how this investor is, what they're looking for, how they're showing up. Whereas, for better or worse, traditional VC is good at being clear about what the desired outcomes are and what that investment thesis is.
Where do you think these new or relatively new investors go? How do they learn? Or, is it a YouTube video, or is it just go to pitch competitions? We love going to Launch VT every year. Do you just sort of demystify it somehow? Clearly the podcast would help, Nicole.
Yes.
Sure. I know. Well, I did see that you had Tom on. So Tom seems like a great start.
Yes.
Just watch the Startup News.
Yes.
Tom Messner.
Tom Messner.
The best.
Yeah. Before we go into what you're doing at VBSR, I want to just talk about your past, what was it like? You went to Tufts and you studied so many things. I wanted to ask,
interdisciplinary education.
I really wanted to ask, how did you study all of that? Poli-sci, agriculture, environmental studies, African studies.
Yeah, the joy of liberal arts, multidisciplinary education, which, I think that's what they say about liberal arts education, right? It teaches you how to think. It teaches you kind of the power of the gray and kind of moving beyond black and white thinking. But, ultimately it did qualify me to go back to grad school. I worked on a farm for a couple of years. So
cool.
And then I, got a little more of a specialized degree in agricultural policy, which is what brought me to Vermont.
Wow. What made you want to study all of that? What were you like as a high schooler, getting ready to apply to colleges and thinking about what you wanted to do? What was that? What was your mind thinking? Was it
intention or just lack of commitment? What was it?
To be completely honest, I actually did just tell this story to my fourth grader. I struggled in high school with some mental health stuff, and I had a therapist say to me, I told you I wasn't going to swear to, but now I have to. The story's just setting me up to do it. He said, you need to find a more graceful way to say fuck you to the world. And that really stuck with me. And it was how I organized my education. And that's really still kind of that line is an organizing principle for me today. What I was struggling with then was coming face to face. I went to boarding school in Connecticut. I went to the same school as Jeff, and things weren't fair. And I had a very sheltered upbringing. And now to be living on this campus where wow, the world really isn't fair. That was hard for me, and it made me angry. And so when I, went to college, I was just I was shopping based on professors that I was connected to, groups of students that I was connected to, who wanted to kind of fight for equity and make the world a little bit more fair. And I had this deep sense of curiosity.
Neat.
And I think that's kind of what I've brought to VBSR too, is how can we work in community with a community-based approach on issues of equity here in Vermont.
Wow. So now to VBSR, what are you excited about?
Well, it's easy to get excited about this organization.
Yeah.
I mean, our
It's
board.
like the original,
It's
right?
just
Isn't it the OG of these
good.
things, right?
Yeah, the very first, and still one of the very few statewide socially responsible business organizations.
Wow.
But yeah, look, our heritage is Ben Cohen and Jerry Greenfield and Allison Hooper and Pat Heffernan and I just the OGs exactly of socially responsible business, and that it wasn't just those people; they're businesses. Seventh generation.
Will Rapp
is
was
still on
part.
the
Yeah,
board. Yes,
yeah.
absolutely. So, and now that's kind of newer set of social responsible businesses is kind of taking up the mantle and bringing the organization forward.
Wow.
35. It is really, Nicole. It was the first one in the country, and it just with people that wanted to see change and grunted it out. Like, oh my gosh, don't mess it up. Is there any risk to that? No.
I will say so. We talked a little bit about the last company that I was part of, Working Fields, was a wonderful startup, proven business model. There was revenue, $3.5 million coming in revenue each year, and didn't make it. And so I was thinking about this on my drive in the other day, like, if you want to make sure that your organization is going to be successful, hire the person who's coming off of a failure. Because this one, we're going places. We're growing membership. We are increasing the impact of our advocacy platform. We're doubling down on our in-person events and having more high-quality, curated opportunities for people to get together.
That's
and
where the magic
we're sticking
happens,
around
right?
for another 35 years for sure.
That's amazing.
Could you talk a little about advocacy?
Yeah,
Like,
sure.
what does that even mean?
Yeah, so I'm now a lobbyist.
I had to register once, like years ago. It so pissed me off. I was like, but what do you do? What you got to do? Vermont goes, Vermont always goes like 9 feet past like
It's
where
true.
you need to be. Right?
Integrity, absolutely. So yes, we have a full-time public policy manager, Johanna DeGraffenried, and I will spend some time in the State House. We're really focused on targeting where we can actually make an impact, which right now we believe is state policy, and focused on a couple of areas: workforce resilience, housing, healthcare. Obviously, no surprise, you're hearing that from everyone. Those are the big issues. Workforce development, and then climate resiliency. So helping businesses come back from what we're seeing to be more frequent climate occurrences.
Wow. Have you done lobbying before, or advocacy?
Well, I worked for the state, so it wasn't advocacy; it was education. I have spent a lot of time in the State House.
With the economic development side of things. Was it on the ag side?
It was, Working Lands Enterprise Initiative.
Right.
There are a number of programs. I worked under Jalinda Leclerc. Do you remember Jalinda at all? She was the Deputy Secretary of Agriculture.
Yeah.
So still one of the people I think of as like mentor.
She was a dairy farmer, right? Was Jalinda?
She was not a dairy farmer. She was Senator Jeffords was
I'm thinking of another ag official
maybe.
then. Yeah.
But yeah, no, she kind of really, as a good mentor does, put me in lots of opportunities to learn what happens in the State House. I administered the Working Lands Enterprise Board. She got me on this great project doing international trade for food and farm companies. So that was a blast.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Can you see her grinning here, Nicole? Like she's like
I know.
after it. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see what goes on now.
I know. I'm really excited.
How do you choose, or how does the membership choose, like, of the 300 issues that are top priority? Like, how do you pick, and do you pick ones where you know you can win, or do you seek coalitions to sort of maybe bubble up? Like housing would be a good one, right? No individual group can like make it happen, so it seems to be more coalescing together.
Yeah, I mean, our like specific niche is pro-business, pro-values. So like, yes, we want growth, and we might be the one to say, how are we going to grow? And how are we going to do this in a way that really makes sure we're protecting our workforce and developing the workforce? How are we going to do this in a way that keeps our natural resources in mind? and who benefits, and where is capital flowing and how in this state. So yeah, in terms of how the structure works, we actually just finished our member survey, and what I will be sharing with our board on Thursday is that housing and healthcare were the top issues. No surprise that our membership wants us to work on. We have a public policy committee that is representative of diversity of members, and then they vote on the top issues that we'll be focusing on. And yeah, definitely coalition is how it all works. But we do try to, have a coherent, proactive platform that, people know what VBSR stands for in the State House.
Are you principally focused on Vermont issues, or do you get pulled into region or national ones? I mean, I know just given the organizations, some of the people are national figures for sure. How does that tug go?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of where we proactively spend our time, it's here in the state, in Montpelier. We certainly right now are doing all we can to support our members in reacting to impacts of, can you call it policy, federal chaos,
is there something going
whims,
on?
from the whims of the day, whether that be tariffs or tourism impacts. But yeah, I mean, that said, it feels controversial right now to say we believe democracy is good for business, but it shouldn't be. I think you'll be hearing more of that type of message from us to say, listen, we need to protect our democracy. It's not just about, this isn't a progressive issue. This is a business issue.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a national.
That's a national.
Okay, okay. I would hope it would be a national. We've got like 3 electoral votes, so I'm like, okay, that's right. It's got to be a national one. Wow. Have you ever done stuff in Montpelier, Nicole?
No, other than field trips when I was in middle school.
Well, that's a start, right?
Yeah. No, it was fun. I want to ask just about like member involvement. There's a lot of our listeners are in Vermont, but also, outside of Vermont and might get inspired like in their own state. But what does it look like to be a member of VBSR? And are there different ways that companies like contribute in terms of how involved they are or, not involved?
Yeah, we have all different membership levels depending on where people are in their company. We have a startup level that we hope is accessible. We believe is accessible to everyone.
We're members.
Yes, you are.
Although we did quit for a couple of years.
Well, happy to have you back.
Yeah, I was so pissed off about an issue years ago that we were on the opposite side of. We just voted for a year.
Well, I will say that
we're back.
That's what's the work of being an advocate. It's not, people aren't going to be on the same side all the time. And I think right now we're in a moment where we are making sure that business is being asked to do a lot. And I think there's a subtle shift happening between let's ask our socially responsible businesses to do more and say, like, actually, let's just support the businesses in the membership to be stronger businesses. So I think that will show up in our advocacy a little bit more going forward. And you asked me another question, and then he just...
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
no, I feel like I had to disclose that.
Okay,
I didn't want like your team like fact checking me. Membership.
Right.
Yeah, sorry.
Jeremy's going to come after you.
100.
Shout out Jeremy.
Gerber, I know. Although I'd love to talk with Jer anytime. So
I know he's.
All right, sorry, Nicole. Back to your question.
I don't even remember the second half of that question.
Oh my gosh! Well, I remember now.
Okay, great.
Okay, so members can get involved at any level. We have a level for everyone, and we certainly have some members who are in it because they just want to come to some of the networking events, and they want to make sure that they they get the invite to come down to the networking event at Foam Brewers or wherever it might be over Lawson's. They're not all at breweries.
No, but they should be.
That's what makes Vermont special.
I went to one at the Candle Factory one time. It's like, okay, that was great. But the brewery was fun too.
Yeah.
Noted. And then all sorts of levels of engagement, showing up at the State House for Advocacy Day, joining a committee, and then, we love when members join the board or really help to shape the future of the organization.
Yeah. So you said that the member survey was just finished. What was the most like uplifting feedback that you got from members this year?
This won't be a surprise to you, but it's people. The biggest value is the in-person experiences.
Yeah.
In-person events. And that's even increased over the past few years.
I mean,
like people are so
why are we
hungry to be
surprised
together.
though? Like,
no surprise, but it feels so good.
It feels
doesn't
good.
it?
It does feel
right?
good.
I mean,
That's awesome.
we were just talking about that in our team meeting today. I was
Yeah.
like, hey, there's a reason we have 150 people, not a huge number, just because you want to feel a connection.
Yes.
A couple days a week, maybe a few hours a month, whatever it is. And I think that I'm actually really encouraged by the trend to return to work.
Yes.
More time in the office. Just I think there's the last couple of years, new entrants coming out of college or out of high school, like they're just losing out some of these connections because,
Yes.
as I tell my team, you learn a lot more from a bad boss than you do from a good boss. So we're in different ways. So.
And it's just access, especially as a young professional, just doing the work isn't really how you get the opportunities. It's like having the conversation and getting to know people as humans and learning about kind of where, oh, look at that thing that person's doing over there is interesting.
Yeah.
How do I get involved in that?
Yeah.
It's possible to replicate on a Slack, but I think it's hard. And I think people just have recognized now it's great to vibe off of the energy that
it's both. It's and, right? It's not either or, I think. Yeah. And although that said, once the snow comes and it gets really icy,
it is. It's nice to have the flexibility.
We'll just phone it in for sure. So you've had the lens as an investor, as sort of an economic development team member, and then as an operator in a business, and now a business association. Like what is your candid assessment on what the innovation sort of ecosystem is like here in Vermont? Has it really changed a lot, or where are we crushing it, or maybe where are things still failing to meet what we need?
Yeah, I think the places that we're crushing it is access. At all levels. I mean, when I was in state government, I heard all the time, access to state officials. I think that's access to educational institutions and all of the innovation that happens there, access to students, but then even access to other founders. I mean, the fact that, you could call up Jeremy and say, hey, do you know anyone in the seventh generation? And he would connect you with someone in seventh generation or Mamava or, all these incredible companies that have scaled and are doing the thing. And they won't just, they'll say, okay, let's meet for coffee. I'm going to tell you about the generosity of spirit of the ecosystem here is rad. I love seeing that. And then we all know the places that we're making it hard on ourselves, and we just talked about them, highest commercial healthcare premiums in the country, fastest growing commercial healthcare premiums, and among the highest in the country. So it's very expensive to do the right thing and take care of our employees here. Housing is just... it's not acceptable. We need more housing. We need to be smart growth. We need to think about where we're developing. I think childcare, we've made so much progress, and we were huge supporters of Let's Grow Kids, and now we have it. So let's keep it. Let's can't give up the fight now just because Let's Grow Kids has done their work. They've passed it on to all of us to continue to advocate for. So it's those kind of let's just make it easier, not just to start your company, but grow and grow your workforce.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it that's infrastructure.
Yes.
Right? Just like a highway was or broadband was, a state or a community. You can't do it all at once, right? So great, we got broadband now. Fine. We got the highways we need. We have an airport that works. Let's get commercial insurance that can succeed, that can, take care of its population.
Yes.
And it's really uncomfortable being unsustainable.
It is. Yeah.
Feels like a startup.
Totally.
100-year-old startup. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Are we going to turn around?
Sweating.
I know, Dave. You're getting red.
Yeah,
and
I'm well, I hadn't thought of that before. I'm dear God. Yeah.
So you briefly touched on a mentor you had and the impact, and that's when you started to smile. And I just want to go back to that and ask about the importance and the value that, having a mentor has done for you in your career. and what your thoughts are on mentorship, and even are you a mentor now to some folks?
Oh gosh, am I a mentor? I would love to think that. But yeah, and whether it's formal mentorship or informal, I had a leader, a supervisor when I worked in state government, Jalinda, who saw the potential and it wasn't always fun, because she expected a lot from me.
Yeah.
But looking back, still her voice is in my head when I'm like, oh, is this good enough? And like, this wouldn't be good enough for Jalinda. I better take another look.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
totally. So
Go
I think
Jalinda.
it is a combination of like setting high expectations and then giving someone the resources that they need to achieve them, was my experience of great mentorship. But then also, like, I was put in many positions where I had to like figure it out and figure it out quickly, or I was going to fall on my face in front of the Senate Ag Committee. And I didn't want to do that. So, like giving enough of that, like, I think you can do this, and I'm going to put you in this position. So figure it out by tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. I kind of... Good for you. Yeah, that was sort of go figure it out.
Yeah.
Do you do a formal mentor program with members and within VBSR at all, or is it sort of just a byproduct of the gatherings? And
yeah, it is more informal. And as I said, if a member calls us up and says, "Here's this issue that I'm having," more often than not, the resource that we have is not like any piece of expertise that we have.
Yeah.
It's, hey, I know someone who could provide some mentorship for you, someone who's been through this or is currently trying to figure this out.
We've ended up, going from this big formal mentoring kind of program, 10, 12 years ago, to more of these mentor moments, basically coffee. Let's just you can get people to say yes quickly versus, oh my gosh, do I have 5 hours a month for the rest of my life to commit to you? And if I walk away, I'll be just, shamed. Versus, oh, hey, lightly curate this sort of introduction. Yes. Can y'all going to be at this event? Can you just, square off in a corner and talk about something? And I think that's that nice Vermont touch.
Yeah.
That's great.
Totally.
Mentor moments. I love also alliteration.
Honestly,
we're good at that. I think we have like
just
10.
that change though unlocked so many more people to get to yes.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
It was like the internship program too,
sides.
micro interns. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I love that.
Yeah. Cool. I think it's time for the magic wand question.
Oh, I want to go back into yes. All right. I want to go back into state stuff, but forget it. No,
we can go back
I want to do it off mic.
We'll do that over a beer later.
Yeah, seriously, right?
Are you sure? Okay.
Yeah, no, totally. Okay, so we ask everybody this, okay? What founder or leader, past or present, would you like to chat with, and why?
Gosh, well, we have these jobs where we're so spoiled. We get to talk to these amazing founders and leaders all the time. So, and I can't choose it. Like choosing a member would be like choosing a favorite child, right?
All right.
That's safe.
Just none of them of your board members.
I went outside of Vermont when you asked that question. The person who came to mind was Mackenzie Scott.
Yeah.
And God, she's just so rad. Like she's toppling philanthropy and the patriarchy and the billionaire class, like all in one fell swoop.
Amazing.
She's amazing.
And quietly, just not with a lot of fanfare and press conferences. It just goes.
Yeah. Yeah, she's definitely inspiring. I mean, no shortage of critiques of philanthropy for sure, but I just like she's picked a strategy. She's sticking with it, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
All right, maybe Mackenzie will come on, start here someday.
Yes.
Here we go.
Maybe.
This is how we troll people, right? We get them on there.
Future guests.
Yeah.
Totally. Thank you so much, Chelsea, for making time today with Nicole and me.
Yeah, this was so fun. Thank you so much, and just what you've done for the state and for all of the businesses here. It's super exciting. We can't wait to
I totally want to go to an event now,
thrive.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, we're going. Yeah.
If you can get a ticket.
Oh.
Our events have been selling out.
That's a mic drop.
Totally.
That is a mic drop.
Wow.
We're
Boom.
ending.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow, shame. Now I want to go.
Yeah.
It's amazing what a line does to me. Like, if there's a line, I got to be there.
Yeah, it is
So
true.
predictable. It's sad. This has been Start Here, a podcast sharing the stories of active, aspiring, and accidental entrepreneurs. This series is brought to you by the Vermont Center for Emerging Technologies. Now let's get back to work.